Susan, what are you doing? As we returned from shopping, we were surprised to see a moving truck parked in front of our house, with my in laws looking at me with astonishment. My mother in law continued directing the movers. Don't just enter our home without permission. Don't get sassy with me, young lady. Open the door now, my father in law insisted, reaching for my purse. Startled, I pulled back, clutching my bag. My mother in law watched with a sly smile. Strangers, leave immediately. Stunned by her words, I was speechless. Tom, overhearing everything, turned pale and began trembling. Do you realize who you're talking to, Mom? What is going on? I knew it was time to reveal the truth. Determined, I faced my furious mother-in-law. My name is Christy Grubb. I'm 48 and I run an insurance agency, a business I inherited from my father. I love keeping things organized and helping clients find the right insurance is my passion. Thanks to long-standing relationships from my father's era, our business is thriving. I met my husband, Tom, when I was 30 at a work event, introduced by a client and family friend who suggested we have coffee. Tom, 2 years older than me, had recently ended a relationship with a long-term girlfriend who had cheated on him. We clicked immediately, exchanged contact information, and soon started dating. At that time, my mother wasn't in good health, and I wanted to fulfill her wish of seeing me in a wedding dress, so I was actively looking for a partner. I think I was a bit rushed to get married. Tom, on the other hand, wasn't as eager. However, he respected my feelings, and 6 months after we met, he proposed. I joyfully accepted, tearfully saying, "Please take care of me." Everything progressed quickly after that. We met each other's parents and held a small, family-only wedding. My mother looked so happy seeing me in my wedding dress, and she peacefully passed away the next month. Thanks to Tom, I was able to fulfill her last wish. I decided to cherish Tom, who stood by me and supported me at my mother's funeral for the rest of my life. Even after 5 years of marriage, Tom and I hadn't had children. We believed that children are a gift from heaven and didn't feel rushed, but my in-laws brought it up. It happened when we visited them for New Year's. Tom was hesitant to go, but we went because my mother-in-law had contacted me directly, asking if we would come. No child yet? When are you going to give me a grandchild? My mother-in-law prodded. Mom, we've told you it's up to nature. If you're going to talk like that, we're leaving, Tom interjected firmly. I understand, but maybe the field is barren, she persisted. That's insensitive, Mom. Christy, I'm sorry. Let's go, Tom said, leading me towards the door. Just as we reached the doorstep, she brought up grandchildren again. We left their house abruptly, skipping the New Year's greetings we had come to exchange. I had persuaded Tom to go, yet as soon as we were back in the car, he apologized to me. I'm really sorry that made you uncomfortable. I'm okay, Tom. I'm sorry for making you feel bad. It's all right for me. They're my parents after all. But now my family is you, Christy. If anyone, even my parents, hurts you, I'm ready to cut ties with them. It's clear we've never really seen eye to eye. Even without issues about you, we've grown apart as adults, Tom admitted with a trace of sadness on his face. All I could manage was a quiet, yeah. From then on, Tom made a deliberate effort to distance us from his parents, and eventually, we moved to a new place. Despite their attempts to reconnect and ask for our address, Tom ignored their calls. For the next 13 years, contact with my in-laws was limited to family events like weddings or funerals. By our 40s, they stopped mentioning grandchildren, which was a small relief. However, one day, out of nowhere, they managed to find our new place and paid us a surprise visit. Unfortunately, Tom was out with a friend that day. Knowing I was alone, Mike and Susan, my in-laws, barged into our home, loudly rifling through our belongings. My, you two still share a bed at your age? How scandalous. Christy, with these undergarments, Tom must be quite excited, Susan remarked, ignoring my obvious discomfort at their invasive comments. They continued snooping around, making disparaging remarks as they went. This might be why you haven't given us any grandchildren. Don't worry, dear, there's still hope. Look, Susan exclaimed, thrusting a crumpled newspaper article into my hands. It featured a story about a woman who gave birth at 60. I felt a chill realizing their implications. We've been too lenient with you. Even at your age, you can still have kids, right? Maybe you should move in with us. I'm home. Do we have visitors? Just as Susan continued her tirade, my father walked in. What they didn't know was that Tom and I had been living with my father since we moved. Tom cared deeply for my father, and my dad treated him like his own son. Their expressions turned to shock upon seeing my dad. You're making Tom support your father too? Normally, one would show gratitude to their husband's parents first. I was speechless, unsure how to respond to Mike and Susan's entitled behavior. We're grateful for your kindness. I didn't expect to see Christy's father here. Isn't it a hit to your pride, relying on my son? Susan remarked, casting a pointed glance at my father. Well, my dad replied with a vague smile, clearly not fazed by their insinuation. Their displeasure was evident as they exchanged irritated looks. Mom, Dad, how did you even find this place? Tom stormed in, his earlier anger evident as he returned sooner than expected due to his friend feeling unwell. Susan shrugged nonchalantly. You never told us, so we hired a detective. It wasn't cheap. You'll cover the costs, right? No way I'm paying for that, Tom retorted sharply, striding over to Susan and forcibly pulling her up. Ignoring her protests, he escorted her out of the room. Hey, that hurts. Tom, what are you doing? You're hurting your mother. Stop it, Susan cried out while Mike's voice boomed in protest. But Tom remained resolute, guiding Susan all the way to the door and pushing her out. Don't ever come back here. I'm seriously considering cutting ties with you both, Tom declared firmly. Oh dear, is this Christy's influence? What kind of wife have you married? Susan exclaimed in disbelief. This has nothing to do with Christy. I've made my decision. Leave. Tom's tone brooked no argument. Despite Susan's continued protests, Tom threatened to involve the authorities if they didn't leave immediately. Reluctantly, they departed. Afterward, Tom apologized to me and my father for the disruption. I'm really sorry. I can't believe they went so far as to hire a detective to find us. They've been incredibly disrespectful, Tom lamented. No, Tom, it's not your fault. I know you're a good kid. Come on, let's eat together, my father reassured him. Thank you. Tom, tears welling in his eyes, expressed his gratitude to my father repeatedly. That evening, the three of us enjoyed a pleasant dinner together. After discussing it, we decided not to relocate and agreed to involve the police if they returned. Surprisingly, days turned into weeks without any sign of my in-laws, and we began to believe we could resume our peaceful life. A month after my father passed away, Tom and I took a trip to gather some mementos of him. On our way back, I couldn't help but shout, Susan, what are you doing? As we returned from shopping, we were taken aback to find movers and my in-laws gathered outside our house. Susan glanced at me with surprise before resuming her instructions to the movers. Don't just enter the house without permission. Don't talk back to me, young lady. Just open the door, Mike insisted, reaching for my bag. Panicking, I clutched my bag tightly and stepped back. Susan's smile turned sinister as she added, outsiders should leave immediately. I was too shocked to respond, but Tom, overhearing everything, trembled with anger, his face reddening. Do you even know who you're talking to, Mom? What is all this about? It felt like the right moment to reveal the truth amidst Susan's furious tirade. This is my house. You know exactly what you're doing. You made Tom buy this house, didn't you? How shameless can you be? Susan's accusatory gaze fixed on me. Turning to Tom, who sighed deeply, I waited for him to speak. This house belongs to Christy. I'm here with her permission, Tom asserted firmly. Tom, is Christy blackmailing you? Poor thing, you don't have to resort to such obvious lies. Besides, Christy is a housewife, isn't she? Susan's words hit Tom like a slap, insinuating manipulation and undermining Christy's role. Tom's eyebrows shot up in indignation. He was clearly angered by Susan's implications about Christy and the term housewife. What do you mean Christy is a housewife? Christy runs an insurance agency. You don't know what you're talking about. She's always at home, yet she goes out to spas and other places. Just the other day, she was dining at a fancy restaurant with some unknown man. Disgusting. The unknown man Susan referred to was likely a client. Recently, a former client of Christy's father invited her to a hotel lunch to discuss business and reminisce about old times. Tom was initially invited as well, but had to work, so Christy attended alone. Despite it being a professional meeting, Susan's accusations seemed fueled by a desire to sow discord between Tom and Christy, despite any evidence from a detective she might have hired. That person is an acquaintance of mine and primarily a client of Christy's. I couldn't attend that day due to work, but we occasionally dine together, Tom clarified. Tom, you're being deceived. It's not too late. You can marry a younger woman and have grandchildren, Susan persisted. I would never want to marry anyone other than Christy, and besides, I can't have children with anyone else anyway. What? What do you mean? Susan and Mike both looked bewildered at Tom's outburst. I stood frozen, trying to make sense of the situation. Tom and I had never undergone fertility tests. He believed that discovering any issues might lead to unnecessary blame. A few years ago, during a high fever, my doctor had suggested testing. I went alone and found out I was infertile from birth. I had kept it secret, fearing Tom might leave me if he knew. Just because we can't have children doesn't mean I would ever leave you, I assured him. Yeah, I know, but I couldn't shake the insecurity, Tom admitted quietly. Instinctively, I hugged him tightly, feeling a renewed determination to cherish Tom forever. What do you mean you can't have kids? You've been a defective product all along. Is this some kind of joke? Have you been deceiving us? Susan and Mike, completely ignoring my presence, began berating Tom. Tom met their harsh words with a steely gaze. I've told you countless times I'm not your puppet, calling your own son a defective product. Parents shouldn't say things like that. What's wrong with calling a defective product just that? Susan's anger flared, and she grabbed Tom by the chest, moving menacingly closer. Tom uttered a man's name softly. At the sound, Susan's face drained of color, and she backed away in shock. Who is that? I have no idea, Tom replied, his expression puzzled. Mike and a visibly flustered Susan listened as Tom calmly continued. That's the name of my biological father. What do you mean? Your father is me, isn't it? I only found out recently too. Remember when you hired a detective to follow me? Well, I hired one too, and I found out quite a bit. Tom held up his smartphone, displaying the screen to Mike. Susan's face turned pale as a sheet, and then, as he looked at the screen, Mike's face flushed red, and he began to tremble. You were cheating on me. So this guy is Tom's father, and you've been having an affair for 50 years. That's not what happened. What do you mean that's not what happened? You dared deny it when you were hugging each other. Ignoring my in-laws as they started arguing loudly, Tom and I instructed the moving company to relocate our belongings to a nearby storage unit. We were informed there would be an additional charge, but since my in-laws had initiated this chaotic situation, it seemed only fair that they shoulder the cost. So I've been raising another man's son, huh? I'm horrified at the thought of spending money on a child who isn't even mine. Tom, you better take responsibility and support me. Got it? Huh? No way. What? You have an obligation to support me. My father-in-law lunged at Tom, but Tom deftly sidestepped him, a wry smile on his face. The one who needs to take responsibility is Mom. I'm just a person who was born. Besides, you didn't even pay for my high school and college expenses. I've been financially independent since high school. How can you say that? While I struggled to earn money for tuition, unable to socialize with friends, you were taking my part-time job earnings. What else do you expect me to say to a father like that? It was then that I fully understood why Tom harbored such resentment toward his father, yet his father seemed unapologetic, as if everything he did was justified. A child's money belongs to the parents, and so does the money of their child's spouse. But we're not related by blood, only on paper. If you really want to sever ties and repay all the money we've spent on you. I already have. I've been sending money back every month. Huh? Sending money? I was aware that Tom had been sending money to his parents' house, even more than they asked for, just to keep them from interfering in our lives. Yet his father seemed genuinely surprised about the money. Look, I've been transferring $1,500 every month. What's going on here? I see now. Mom has been using all my money for herself and her lover. What? Susan shifted uncomfortably as her husband approached and slapped her across the face. Shocked at first, she quickly recovered and retorted, How dare you? You should be grateful that a man with no money or status would marry me. He's a man with both. Staying married to you was just convenient for enjoying life with him. I even let you raise his child, didn't I? Be thankful. Are you serious? I married you because you said you were pregnant, even after your father attacked me. So what? He deserved it if he got beaten up. Susan's sudden and dramatic change in attitude left her father-in-law speechless. Just then, Susan's smartphone rang loudly. Checking the screen, her face lit up as she answered in a sweet, affectionate voice. Hello, darling. What's up? Miss me? I couldn't help but shudder hearing Susan's voice for the first time. Tom stood beside me with a twisted expression, though he had a knowing smile. I would soon understand the significance behind that smile. Wait, you're not, darling. Ma'am, what? Oh no, this must be a mistake, or rather, all of this. Alimony. $10 million. Please just hold on a moment. Susan spoke frantically into the phone, but it seemed she was abruptly cut off, leaving her dazed. Tom chuckled softly. All the evidence, photos, and recordings must have reached them. What? This is your fault. It's called sharing information. Oh, and by the way, she has no intention of divorcing your boyfriend. He's just another son-in-law in her family. Tough times ahead for you, not knowing him well. It seems he's keeping a few mistresses. His wife even told him to only cheat with younger women, right? He must be getting an earful right about now. Mistresses. But he told me he loved only me. Susan slumped to the ground, stunned by these revelations. Mike looked down at her with a satisfied smirk, then turned to Tom with the proposition. Must have been tough with such a mother. I'll let bygones be bygones this time. Let's live together, just us three. Cut ties with your mother and it'll be you, me, and Christy. Christy, I'll take care of you. Stay away from Christy. Tom's warning fell on deaf ears as Mike moved towards me. In one swift motion, I grabbed his hand and flipped him onto the ground. Of what the? Mike was surprised and confused by the sudden turn of events. I stood over him with a cold gaze. In reality, I had been attending self-defense classes since I was young. Despite my insurance work involving negotiations with various clients, my father insisted I learn self-defense as a precaution. Over time, I grew to enjoy the classes and continued them after taking over the business. Though I wondered if I had been too rough with a 75-year-old man like Mike. Seeing Tom's satisfaction as he watched his father on the ground eased my mind. Mike seemed too shocked to speak, but Susan, my mother-in-law, turned her attention to me. Christy, that was quite impressive. I'm sure you can handle anything. How about this? Why don't you pay the alimony to that woman for me? If we live together, we could save on living expenses and I can help with the household chores. And as for kids, we could always adopt. I take good care of them. Are you serious? There's no way I'm letting someone like you into my home filled with memories of Tom, my father, and me. And why should I pay your alimony? You should take care of your own responsibilities. My patience had worn thin, and I spoke bluntly, expressing all the thoughts that had been brewing inside me. Susan was taken aback at first, unused to being addressed so directly. Her initial surprise quickly turned to anger, her face flushing red as she raised her voice again. How dare you speak to your husband's mother like that? I've already told everyone we're moving in, and besides, that house is about to be demolished. I have no home to go to anymore, so let me stay. What are you saying? He's my son. He should be with me. Mike, joining in Susan's protests, stood up from the ground and shouted back. Amid their heated argument, Tom calmly and firmly reiterated our decision. Neither of you will be moving in with us. We're cutting ties completely. If you cause any more trouble here, we will call the police. The police? At the mention of the police, my in-laws paled and backed away. Continuing to argue, they eventually headed off toward the train station, their voices fading into the distance. Later on, Mike and Susan went through a divorce, but their financial struggles forced them back together. Mike attempted to claim alimony from Susan and her lover, only to face a counterclaim from the lover's wife. Susan, unaccustomed to hard work, found it challenging to hold a job, often quitting at the slightest inconvenience, while they both struggled to make ends meet with their combined incomes. Meanwhile, the lover faced severe consequences, losing his potential presidency and becoming reclusive at home, squeezed financially by his wife's intentions to take him to court. Surprisingly, Tom bounced back quickly from the ordeal. Despite being approached by the lover's family to become an heir due to shared blood, Tom declined, feeling it was too much for him, and signed away any claims to the inheritance. It was typical of Tom, not one for competition or greed, a trait that brought a sense of relief and pride to me. As for me, a business associate recently offered me a cat they found, and I'm eagerly preparing for its arrival. I've already chosen a name, Marine, as a nod to the fishing trips my father and Tom used to enjoy, and the cat's blue eyes that remind me of the sea. Tom shares my excitement, looking forward to welcoming our new family member. As the doorbell rang, signaling the arrival of the cat, I greeted my business associate warmly. Welcome.